What are you watching?
Back to Argus Hamilton Comedy Store tonight. We got a great crowd here with us tonight. We got Tony Hinchcliffe. And before I bring on our next fantastic comedian, I love this guy, it's time for me to read what the writers have called fan mail. Let's find out. Okay. Oh, it's short. Good. This letter comes from Jogglesobs, Missouri. Dear Argus, your meats gave my wife influenza. How dare you sell me those meats? The hamster meat was delicious, and I have no complaints there. But the squirrel meat was riddled with fly larvae. I want my money back, or I'm calling the NSFDC to have your meats inspected. From Daryl Diddler. Well, Daryl, I'm sorry, but you signed an agreement releasing me from all responsibility of my meats upon purchase. I'll send you a Comedy Store mug as a compensation for your wife's death. And good old editing.
Great. Went just as it should go.
Yeah. I should really leave these segments to the professionals. The truth is, we got a great writing staff here, and we're going to get better and better as the weeks go by. But right now, speaking of pros, let me tell you, this guy I'm about to bring on is one of the very favorites of all the Comedy Store main room comedians. We very seldom get him anymore because he's always headlining out on the road or working right now, but I love to follow this guy in the main room. He just destroys the room and hands it right to you, and it's a party the entire time. I'll give you some of his brag sheet here. He played Slimer in the Ghostbusters remake, and you've seen him on shows like Workaholics, Two Broke Girls, and Arrested Development. But most of all, he's got a podcast right now that just kicks ass with Brad Williams. Remember the little fellow that we had on the show?
Check under your chair. He might be here tonight.
Everybody loved it. Give it up for Adam Ray, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you, Argus.
Great to see you, buddy.
So cool, man.
Now, Brad Williams came on the show after you and just destroyed. He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then I find out that you and Brad were in the celebrity NBA All-Star basketball game.
Yeah, that was.
He was in basketball.
Yeah, he was the basketball. Yeah. No, we I somehow met Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, and he invited us to go to Las Vegas for the summer league, which is like the practice before the season starts, and we're hanging out there with him and you know all these big time owners and just feeling very out of sorts, just drinking too much because I was nervous and being like, hey, you guys should let me run the team. They're like, yeah, this guy's fucked up, get him out of here. And then Brad at one point to Adam Silver goes, hey, just promise me one thing, don't let Peter Dinklage play in the NBA Celebrity All-Star game before me. And he kind of laughed, and then he was like, yeah, fuck that guy, you're in. And then we were kind of like, oh, wait, what? And then I was like, hey, Adam, I actually play. Brad is just a prop. Like, we're a package deal. And he's like, yeah, you guys can both play. And then I followed up like a month later, and that's how it happened, man. But it was a dream. I mean, we got to meet so many legends and met Shaq, and Brad met Shaq's penis, and I took shots with Guy Fieri after the game, and like you forget, people see, like everybody was watching that game for a little bit, so it was cool to like mix it up with people post game and to have them be like, oh, I thought, so it was a.
How did Brad do in the game when you passed him the ball?
We had a couple plays pre-planned, like him to go through my legs, and I had purchased this thing called a piggyback, where if you're going to take your kid camping, you wear, or if you just have a dwarf and you want to do a bit, it's like a thing that's like a backpack, and then there's like a metal rod on the back for the kid or little person to stand on, and I sent it to Sue Bird, who was a WNBA legend. She was our coach, and I go, hey Sue, I'm thinking about bringing this to the game, and maybe I call a timeout, and Brad and I put it on, and we do a whole bit. And she's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then in my head, I just got nervous, and I was like, I should probably run this by the NBA. So I had some contact with some people, big mistake. I sent it to them, and I sent them also like the video of us practicing with it on, where I'm like moving very slowly and very shaky.
Yeah.
And they were like, absolutely not. They're like, what if you drop them? I'm like, it'll be hilarious, you know. Like, what do you want me to tell you? And I was like, you guys don't have dwarf insurance? And they're like, is that a thing? I'm like, I don't know. You're the NBA. Google it, you know. And so ultimately they didn't allow us to have it, but we had a couple. You know, the pace of the game was so fast. You think that it's going to be all just no defense and hanging out, but everybody was trying to win. So,
Yeah. Wow.
But it was cool.
So what else you been doing?
You know, the podcast is jamming along. We just always trying to move that forward. My album just came out called Read the Room.
Read the Room.
Which I recorded up at the Punchline in San Francisco, which, you know.
Did I hear it's going out of business?
Google bought the building apparently and is trying to take that space. And
That's
use it
outrageous
for,
because the
turn it into
property
a
is so
Panera Bread
valuable
or
in San
something.
Francisco.
It
They're
is.
taking up the places of art.
I mean, it's like that downtown is like got so many great spots. But that club, Chappelle went to City Hall, and I don't know if you saw the clip, and he, you know, very actively was trying to make a point about how legendary of a landmark it is,
Yeah.
and how it's a historic piece of comedy, and like the magic that happens in that room. It's like you can move a comedy club to another spot, but you lose what's been captured and what has happened in that room. So hopefully they figure it out. But if not,
Well, I know
my
everybody-
album would be the last thing that happened there. But hopefully not.
Well, from my gang, I know Robin Williams and
Dana and
Will Durst all
Yeah.
developed there.
Oh, yeah.
Samuels and Cohen.
Patton and Brian Posehn, yeah, everybody, man. So,
Wow.
but and then just trying to get on TV and making shows and trying to.
Well,
you know.
you absolutely destroy him here. How's
Oh
your-
man, it's getting to bring you up is the best part
Well,
of
tell
my week.
me about your dating life now. What's going on with that?
Oh wow, let's just get right into it.
yeah, come on.
Fuck, man. You want to start with my parents' divorce? Fuck. Let's just get
Well,
real.
why
honest.
you're emotionally unavailable? Let's
Yeah,
get into
yeah. It's good. Been with a girl for a couple years now, and she's great, very supportive. She's very just real sweet, a little. Like we were on the phone a couple weeks ago, and she was in kind of a shady part of town in Venice, and she was like, "Will you stay on the phone with me? Like I feel like there's a really scary guy behind me. Like I just feel uneasy. Will you stay on the phone?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure, I'll stay on the phone." But also, how considerate are we anticipating this potential attacker to be? Like, as if he's going to see her and just, get ready to attack and then be like, oh shit, I don't know you're on the phone. Yeah, go ahead and finish that call. Yeah, let me know when you're off. I'll be right here. Wow, I just told you where I'm going to be. This is my first rape. I'm so sorry.
But honey,
We're
I'm
still
I'm 5 minutes south of Santa Monica. Help me.
Yeah, please. But she's, real sweet and supportive, and which is all you need. You
Yeah.
know? But it's good, man.
You enjoying it?
It's definitely reeling me in. Like I definitely was feeling myself getting a little too, staying out a little bit too late, which is all part of the comedy game. Like I
Yeah.
still definitely want to, but there was a point when I was like, I felt like I was drinking too much, like not out of control, but like to the point to where people were going to be like, oh, yeah, did you hear about Adam? He's getting DUIs in the backs of Ubers now, just for sitting there? Yeah, dude. He just fucking was stealing the gum and grabbing the whip. And even with pot, man, it's like pot is kind of my equalizer where it's everything in moderation, but like. And there was a point when you don't have somebody else to kind of like feel like, not that she's like watching me, but just like
monitoring.
And you don't want to be, not your best self. And so, but there was these times when I would get so baked and I would like drive to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee and then forget I drove and walk home and then, get paranoid that somebody stole my car and then I call the cops and then forget I call the cops. I order a pizza. Pizza shows up. I think it's the cops undercover. I'm just like, you stole my breadsticks, So she's definitely like a good balancer outer. So
Monitor.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, did you find that once you settle into a relationship,
Yeah.
that when you go out on the road, that when you stop trying, that women just throw themselves at you?
No, but thanks for bringing that up. Next question, August.
I thought so.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's always.
When I'm right, I'm right.
Yeah. There's always, in every city. I mean, shit, man. I was in Cincinnati and got propositioned by a couple to, go hang out with them in a sexual manner that was going to be like it was really weird. They were like, we've got like, we got some other friends, and like we can all like they're like friends that we hang out with, and I was like, you mean like Buck? And they were like, whatever. I was like, why are we still doing quotes? Like let's just say what it is. But there was also more dudes than girls, so I was like, what about this? Like it was if like I almost want to be like, hey, can we get some more dicks in this fuck circle? But
Adam Ray, the star of Sausage Party.
Yeah, the sequel. But yeah, I mean that's also why I do like to do the road. Just to get to do an hour is just always I think beneficial and fun and I write a lot when I'm out on the road. I never like any set to feel. I do a good amount of crowd work in my hour. I'd say. If I do 15 minutes of crowd work interspersed throughout, I'll try to then have an hour 15 set so that I'm not sacrificing.
But you are masterful at crowd work.
Oh, thanks.
And
man.
I can just imagine how I know, like with Alan Steven and Jimmy Brogan, they decided to make the crowd work their careers. You could do that, but you're too ambitious to get the material in.
I appreciate that. There's too many things that. I feel like if you're, living a life worth writing about and you're at least like conditioned after a while, which I think is one of the benefits of sticking with this, that you do get to a point to where you can't not see a certain situation or a certain, piece of dialogue and not get inspired or think like, oh, how could that fit in something? It's like I'm literally always like, I was at Chipotle, I was trying to, this is prefacing this, I think more bits with just like the election coming up and whatnot about people being open-minded. And I heard this guy at Chipotle go, he's munching into his burrito and he's like, God, this salsa's bullshit. See, I told you we need the wall. I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, man. Like, that is, so ignorant, so closed-minded, like rude, and also incorrect. And I'm like, because we all know it's the Filipinos that are fucking up the salsa. Like, gotta do your fact checks. But
we need more sharks.
I'll work on
we
that
need
bit,
more sharks, is what we need.
Yeah. But like, there is just an element of the amount of experiences you're accumulating that I think contribute to how much you're inspired to put pen to pad, but the crowd work stuff, it's like it makes every show different for me.
Yeah, it does.
And it's always, I feel like, pretty confident with it now I just feel like I'm good at listening to build something in the silence and not immediately just be in my head like, oh, you got to say something funny, but actually like trust it. Maybe if you got 30 seconds of conversation, and get some information that and the audience is going to stay with you. But
well, we have real comedy fans here in the crowd tonight, and so. I want you to know what his special skill is that he can file information at minute 2 or 3 of the set, go into his material, and then you call it back sometime at minute 13 or 14 and just destroys the room, and you make the last 2 or 3 minutes look completely extemporaneous. You've been planning it in the back of your head the whole 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you bring me up, and I got to go material.
Yeah, but I mean, like, come on, like you're one of a kind. Like it's an honor.
But I mean, you do it. You're great at it.
Thanks,
and how do you resist temptation on the road when they give you an hour? Because you always come back with new material. You always do.
Yeah, I try to. Yeah. It's also one of the benefits of getting to be at the Comedy Store. Like you feel like you have to. I mean, definitely, I think in the last few years, and many comics can attest to this, that like you definitely feel like you got to bring it harder now, I think, than in the past, because there's more packed room. Well, we got some papers we need to get going. Yeah. Last minute sponsor. Is that to wrap it up?
No, it's being served.
Oh, shit! Live on TV. Oh, let's do it. Yeah. this is awesome. But you definitely feel like you need to, just bring your A game. But like, I think the Comedy Store will never lose its supportive, artist first. Definitely try.
Well, wait a minute. I
out.
want to agree with you, because I've never thought of it this way till you just brought it up to me. Mitzi really wanted that original room to develop as an artist colony.
Yeah.
Well, she always called it the workshop.
Yeah.
And before there were 50,000 comedians competing for 300 nightclub spots, there were about 300 comedians in America, New York and LA. And the original room, you could stand up and just try out new material for 20 minutes and see if it was funny.
Yeah.
Now you've got to smear.
I know. There is like an element to where it's like you never know who could be in the audience. Bonnie Hunt could be casting a new, improv stuff.
That's exactly. But it happens all the time.
Yeah, but there's there is something that you feel in that room where you're like, when it's packed and the energy's electric, and you got to follow somebody that's just destroying. You're like, oh, now I got to bring that. But I think the comedy crowds here are so sharp that they understand when you got to reset the room and kind of they're privy to every comic's different and get them their own
And besides, any comic worth his salt that can perform here can change that audience's perception the moment you walk on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, you can absolutely murder, and then I'll walk out there and I've got to change them into me, and I've got 5 seconds to do it.
Yeah, but they want that, They're like, hey, we're tired of this guy talking about midgets. Like, bring up Argus,
We want to hear about drugs and Trump.
Yeah. Are you working on some new Trump material? I feel like you're constantly churning out.
Well, having fun with him right now.
Yeah.
And
your Facebook posts are, by the way, people gotta. I mean, not only follow you on YouTube and Twitter, but your Facebook is like, man, you're in my feed constantly. You and like these people that I keep. I don't know how it happens, but I keep reconnecting with people from high school, and they keep popping up. Like I totally forgot that I went to elementary school with a girl named Audrey Klitgard. Klitgard.
Oh,
and
my.
I totally dude, I didn't even know what a clit was in the 5th grade, and I was like, this does not seem fair. But I totally forgot. And then one day Zuckerberg was like, remember Audrey Klitgard? And I was like, fucking now I do. And then I started thinking, I was like, dude, how does that even happen to get that name? Like, I feel like the options must have been limited at Ellis Island, where they're just like, all right, sir, we can give you Dick Sponge, Ass Tickler, or Klitgard. Which of the 3 is going to get your daughter the least amount of teasing? But like, it's always peppered in through your fucking I mean, the amount of laughs per minute that you pack into a couple lines is second to none.
and how many Muslim fathers would kill for that name Klitgard for their daughter?
Come on, man.
Give it up for Adam Ray, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Ray.
I love you, Artie.
I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Go pick. Good to see you, man. Dude, this is so great. Look at this, man. This is